for me because it makes
That's impressive.
the
Man,
rest
I
of
didn't
life
have a
easier.
childhood like that at all. Yeah, we were decadent, unfortunately. And so those are lessons that I learned much later. But
Yeah,
that's a good. I think that's a. If it doesn't destroy you, I think it's a great way.
you don't have to do it the way I do it. You can do other stuff. You can do yoga. You can do hikes. You can do.
No, but doing things for the sake of the difficulty in doing them.
Yes.
I love that. Again, that was not my training at all.
Yeah.
But
I was very lucky that it was mine, but more importantly, it gave me a tool to mitigate the stress of regular life, and especially the stress of this kind of life that I live. You need something to mitigate that, right? Or you'll go crazy. You'll go crazy.
yeah, removing yourself from it a little bit has always worked for me. Nature works very, very well.
Yeah.
Animals, contact with animals, people you love. Less digital experiences, fewer digital experiences for sure. I think that stuff's not good for you. It's just obviously not good for you.
I was having this conversation with Michelle Dowd yesterday. She is a woman who survived an apocalyptic cult. She was raised in an apocalyptic cult and kicked out when she was 17 because she snuck out to go see The Color Purple. They weren't allowed to see the movie. She'd never seen a movie until she was 17.
She'd never seen a movie, and her first movie was The Color Purple.
And then they kicked her out.
I can kind of see that. I mean, what about Raiders of the Lost Ark or something? The Color Purple
was the first movie she'd ever seen.
No, but like,
Someone, a
you see
boy.
one movie that's The Color Purple?
Well, a boy invited her to the movie.
Come on!
But could you imagine never seeing a movie or even a television show
Can't
your whole
imagine
life and then seeing The
dating
Color
a boy
Purple?
who wanted to see The Color Purple. Like, there's so much going on here, Joe.
Well, this boy was a guy who had left the church, and so she was in contact with him, and and he was saying, "Hey, there's a whole world out here. You want to go see a movie?" And she's like, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah, I mean, obviously, look, I'm totally against cults. Obviously. On the other hand, you gotta ask yourself, like, I don't know, is your average Amish teenager happier than your average conventional American teenager on Instagram? And of course, the answer is, oh yeah.
Well, they certainly have less instances of autism, which is really fascinating. It's very, very
The Amish
fascinating.
have less autism.
Yeah, there's almost none.
I'm not surprised.
It's extremely
Why do
rare.
we think that is?
Well, I wonder. I really do.
I can think of a couple.
Yeah.
I don't like a Bobby Kennedy.
Well, that's the problem. Right? If you go Bobby Kennedy, they'll come for you. But the question is why?
Look, and I don't know the answer, but
How is that not in the debate? How is that not in the conversation?
well, it's not only not in the conversation, you're punished for adding it to the conversation.
Yes.
And so, like,
We are dancing around anti-vax conspiracy theories
but
right now.
why be on the defensive? It's like, if you purport to represent science and you're mad about a question,
And you're ignoring data.
yeah, but even in the absence of data,
Right.
science is a process.
Yes.
It's not a result. It's a way of doing things. And at the core of science is asking questions, including unlikely questions.
Right.
That's what science is.
Right.
And if you don't allow that, then you may be doing something. But what you're not doing is science. We can say that conclusively. So
Right.
for people to wrap themselves in the mantle of science and attack you for asking a question, they're frauds. And I don't know how they have the moral high ground in this.
I don't think they do, but I think it's the same kind of mindset that allows people to create the nuclear bomb. Because you say, listen, we're not saying that vaccines cause autism, but let's say this. If you're looking at all the data of all the things that cause autism, and you see that the vaccine schedule ramps up considerably, and then you have autism, which seems to at least be more diagnosed than ever before, people will instantly say, we stopped polio, we stopped smallpox, vaccines have saved millions of lives. Right. We dropped that bomb to keep Germany from dropping that bomb. We need nuclear weapons so that other people don't have nuclear weapons. We do a thing that maybe has some negative effects, but is overall good. And I think you can kind of apply that sort of logic and reasoning as a human being to very messy issues. I think people do that with abortion, right? They do that with abortion. They
do
say
with everything.
a woman has a right to choose reproductive freedom. They say all these things. And then you say, okay, what if the Yeah, I think, but even some really good religions have aspects of them that you could say were overall detrimental to the people that are
Sure, absolutely, you can say that.
accountable. I think that kind of thinking, I think cult thinking, whether it's Scientology or whether it's Christianity, there's like a type of thinking, or whether it's woke. Woke is clearly a cult. It's a mind virus, and I think that cult. It's so trite to call it that now. It's like whatever this thing is, this leftism, this Marxist sort of ideology that's waving its flag and indoctrinating people in this country. It's very similar to all kinds of religions. It's very similar to fundamentalists